the only show that's 3 dimensions away from Deadpool and Wolverine being called Deadpool Kills the Fox Universe. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Deadpool and Wolverine, released in 2024. Deadpool and Wolverine is the third installment of the Deadpool series. It is based on the comic book created by Rob Liefeld, and this time around is directed by Sean Levy and is written by Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, Zeb Wells, and Sean Levy. The movie once again stars Ryan Reynolds, this time we're coming around, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Maureen Beckham, Rob Delaney, Leslie Uggam, Aaron Stanford, and Matthew McFadden. The movie is a sequel to Deadpool 1 and 2. This time around, Deadpool is not really doing his Deadpool thing anymore. Like, after him going using Cable's time thing, going around, jumping around, he goes to, he feels that he doesn't want to be a killer anymore, and he basically wants to do something more and so of course his girlfriend really wants him to do something more with his life and everything, but so he goes and tries to join the MCU, and they reject him immediately after a very vulgar and inappropriate interview with the Happy Hogan, and then they send him back to his time, and then of course once the TVA, after him being a used car salesman, the TVA recruits him to basically help them get rid of the Fox universe. He basically has to team up with Wolverine, since Wolverine is the one that is dead. He has to team up with that Wolverine to save their universe, and they're in his universe as well. The movie is a good movie, okay? The movie is really good. I like how it starts out. Like, it does not have fake credits in this movie, like how the first two had fake credits. Like, the first one was just like, a mockumentary of the test footage using like a fake credits, while the second one was more of a James Bond opening fake credits, and this one is real credits, but it's like Deadpool murdering TVA agents from Loki with that playing the in sync bye bye bye. it's so done in slow motion and like really great shots. I loved it. I was like, I've seen that clips on YouTube 100 times because it is so fun and good to watch. I've probably seen it way more than I should have, but it's so great. I love this movie. It was a really good Deadpool movie. Is it my favorite Deadpool movie? No. I still think Deadpool 2 is my favorite. But I will say this, because the only reason why is because of rewatchability. I could rewatch Deadpool 1 and 2 over and over again, and Deadpool 2 especially. But Deadpool, this one, I just feel like once you get past the jokes in the movie, it's not it doesn't have as rewatchability. I would say like this, okay? No Way Home. I can rewatch Spider-Man, and I can watch Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 over and over again. No Way Home, once you get past the cameos, you're just waiting for them to show up. And then you're basically like, okay, there's the Green Goblin, there's Spider-Man, there's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, there's Andrew Spider-Man. Okay, now they're fighting. It just feels like it's going through the motion. And when you first see it, it's exciting, but once you've seen the magic trick, it's not as exciting. So I've rewatched it recently, and I'm like, it's not. Why am I not loving it as much? And it's because once you see it, it has cool moments, but once you see the cool moments, it doesn't excite like this. I feel like if you're just setting a story based around cameos, your movie's not going to be great. You have to have a story that it makes your story the cameos matter. And I feel like this movie does have that. I feel like this movie has some things I love about this movie and things I hate about this movie. I really, 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 really like the story about Deadpool and Wolverine teaming up, and it's kind of like Ryan Reynolds described it as Plane, Trains, Automobiles, or Midnight Run, or 48 Hours, where Deadpool is kind of the wisecracking buffoon and Wolverine's the hard ass. And I will say Wolverine in this movie, for the most of the movie, is kind of a dick, just doesn't care about the world and anything. He just almost feels like an alcoholic that just wants to die. That's essentially is this character. Deadpool, on the other hand, is just this annoying buffoon that just keeps annoying everybody and getting people killed. For instance, there's spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen this movie. But apparently everyone has, because it's on its way to making $1 billion freaking dollars. So there's cameos in this movie. For instance, one of the cameos is the Human Torch. Chris Evans is the Human Torch. And the joke is they think he's Captain America at first, until he says flame on. And then, of course, but then he fights Pyro, who steals his flames, and then he falls on a billboard, and he busts his nuts, and then he falls down. That was funny. Chris Evans, he was good in this movie. I like him, even though he's not the Human Torch. He is a variant of the Human Torch. If you look at his outfit is different. He's not the same Johnny Storm from the 2005 and 2007 movies. He is a different Johnny Storm. So, because there's a same point where he dies in the movie, and I'm like, that's not going to stick, because he's going to have to be in Secret Wars. But then it's like someone pointed to me, he's not even wearing the same outfit. It's not that Johnny Storm. That Johnny Storm is in a different universe. And which is still, I mean, it was still fun seeing him as the Human Torch. And I like that there's another universe where Chris Evans is still the Human Torch. I mean, that's kind of funny to me. I wonder if Michael B. Jordan, it'd been really funny if they had had Michael B. Jordan, which I know originally in Deadpool 2 they planned on having that Fantastic Four die. But I still like that they kind of recycled this idea for this, but instead it's like all the other Fantastic Four are mentioned in a way. They were killed off. Same with the X-Men in this movie. There is no cameos from other X-Men in this universe. Like, there's no Magneto, there's no Professor X, there's no Cyclops, Storm, Jean, anything, Beast, anything like that. They are mentioned, but they're never seen. Although there are villains in this movie that have cameos. I will say, though, this movie, and one thing that irked me about this movie, it does not, their cameos are pointless. Like, they're Space Jam New Legacy cameos. And what I say by that is, they're background actors in the outfits of these characters. And if you watch Space Jam New Legacy, you'll see, like at the basketball scene, there's a bunch of cameos from like these characters, like someone dressed like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, or The Mask, or Pennywise, or the Clockwork Orange Gang, and it's all just background actors in their costumes on a green screen in the background. While this movie, it's like you have Toad, Juggernaut, Lady Deathstriker, over here, and then Ryan Cam, a buddy of mine, Ryan Cam, pointed out to me, Bullseye is in this movie from Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and none of them are played by the actors that play these characters. Like, Colin Farrell's not in this as Bullseye. Neither is, Ray Park as Toad. And someone even asked Ray Park on his Twitter and said, hey, are you going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine? And he's like, no. And then someone said, you're in the trailer, though. And he goes, I must have been kidnapped in my sleep because I'm not in this. And some people thought he was being playful and like, he's in the movie. Turns out, no, he is not. He legit was telling the truth. He is not in this movie. No one is in this movie from those movies. The only person that returns is two people. Aaron Stanford returns as Pyro, and he has a huge role in this movie. He's like the secondary. He's like the henchman. He's literally the secondary villain to Emma Corrin's villain, I would say. Like, I would say technically the main overall villain of this movie, the main antagonist is Emma Corrin. But like the secondary villain, if you want to get technical, is Matthew McFadden's character, Paradox. But really, Aaron Stanford is really loyal to Emma Corrin. So like he's kind of like, think of it like Mystique and Magneto in X-Men, the original X-Men movie. Like, he's the Mystique to her Magneto. And while Paradox is more or less a bad guy that's like, I'm going to destroy this universe and make sure, that she takes care of them, and everything. It's kind of like that type of cliche in the movie where you have a other overall arcing bad guy where they work for this bad guy. And so it's kind of like that cliche in the movie. But I mean, it didn't hurt that. It didn't hurt me when I was watching. I was like, oh, really? But instead, I feel like I liked it better when the two films would have their own arcs. And then when it tries to bring it together, I'm like, oh, come on. It's like, come on. Why would the TVA even risk working with someone like that? It just makes no sense. I did, and also like there is like like for instance, but also also in Sabretooth returns as well. Tyler Mane returns as Sabretooth, which it's a quick cameo, which I'm glad he did it though, because I'm glad it wasn't just some background actor. They could have easily put some background actor in a wig and teeth and did it, but I'm glad he was, even though I wish they would have got a longer scene with him. I thought it was great that he come back as Sabretooth. And I do kind of wish, by the way, if you see who plays Bullseye in the movie, you're going to think, everybody kept thinking this guy was Blade, because it's a black guy in a trench coat, and everybody was like, oh, that's Blade, and they're like, no, it's not Blade, and nobody could figure out who he was, and they're like, he's Bullseye from Daredevil. I'm like, how is that guy Bullseye? I'm like, he doesn't even look like, a picture of Colin Farrell and this guy, and you're like, that looks nothing, them two look nothing alike. It'd be like Donald Glover and Gene Wilder playing Willy Wonka. It'd be like Donald Glover playing a young Willy Wonka to the Gene Wilder film. And you're like, I'm sorry, but Gene Wilder's not black. I mean, I'm like, I look, if you see Silver Streak, I mean, you could make an argument, maybe. I mean, but like, I'm just saying. But I thought that was like the funniest cameo, and I think that was like the joke of the movie. It's like, like it's like reverse whitewash. It's like reverse whitewashing. It's like they took a white Irish guy and it made him black. I was like, I thought that was, I'm like, that had me laughing because I'm like, it's like Ryan Reynolds just took that joke and he took a white joke and reversed it. And that made actually the joke even funnier. After I saw that cameo, I'm like, that makes the joke even funnier. Because it's like, but yeah. And I really did like that. I like the story overall, though, about how, like, Wolverine is kind of a loss, and then, like, you know, when he meets, like, the Beat, they're kind of like their own version of the X-Force in a way, where basically you have Wesley Snipes as Blade returns, and then you have, of course, you have Jennifer Garner as Elektra, and you have the great Channing Tatum as Gambit, who has some very vulgar lines in this movie that I really think he looks comic accurate Gambit. The only difference is he's missing the eyes, like a contact lens, but I'm like, they're not going to have Channing Tatum put those contacts in his eyes. Although his Cajun accent is so heavy, and I thought he was doing a Jamaican accent at first. I'm like, is he doing a Jamaican accent? Really? And it turns out, no, he wasn't. It was just, I was like, okay. I was just so heavy Cajun, it just sounds like he's doing Jamaican. And like, but there was a big laugh in the theater when they said, "Who is your dialogue coach? The Minions?" I mean, it was, and I really enjoyed that joke too. And the movie has like a lot of heart, especially when they're fighting, like, you know, all the baddies in the movie, like Juggernaut and stuff. I know Vinnie Jones, they asked him to return as Juggernaut, but you know he declined because he had a rough time working on the third X-Men. He didn't want to do that and feel constrained to do that, and so of course they just put the guy who played Guy and Free Guy to be Juggernaut. Even though I'm like, why wouldn't they just CGI Ryan Reynolds? Like, why wouldn't they do the Juggernaut from Deadpool 2? I mean, it would have made more sense. But, I mean, hey, it's his movie. But I like that whenever, like, they fight all the Deadpools in the movie. Like, it's just so fun and everything. There's Nice Pool in the movie, who's Ryan Reynolds, just a nice little, with, like, a man bun and, like, a cute dog that, like, Deadpool's in love with. It's such a fun time, this movie. And it has so many heartful moments that I love, especially when Peter shows up and they're like, "Oh, Peter!" And like how Wolverine saves the day and everything. And I love that at the end. I cried at the end when the Fox credits rolled. The credits just made me cry because it's like a goodbye video. Almost reminded me of Peter Jackson. We did the final Hobbit movie and it had a music video of Billy Boyd singing goodbye and showed all the clips from all 6 movies. And it felt like that, where they were showing all of it from Fantastic Four and all the X-Men and everything. And just when they're all waving goodbye and playing that sad song. And then you see the Fox logo at the end. It warmed my heart up and everything. And I really enjoyed this movie, and I can't wait for you to see it. It's really funny, and it has an emotional heart at the end of it, and it feels like a final goodbye to the Fox X-Men universe, and also the Deadpool and Fantastic Four, and Daredevil and Elektra universe. So, but that is my review. Thank you so much. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a solid A-. Thank you so much.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.